So today I'm heading out to pick up my new shop lathe. It's about 400 miles away. It's not new, but it's new to me. It takes me about 7 hours to get down to Vegas to pick it up. So 14 hours round trip, so we'll load up the Expedition trailer, a bunch of tools to move it around because these things can be heavy. We'll get there. We can't do it all in one day because of the heat. It's about 120 degrees down there in the summer. That's about 50 C. That's hot. So I want to be there first thing in the morning. So I'll spend the night at a friend's house that lives down there, and we'll load it up and we'll head on back. So want to see it? Come on, let's do it. So I'm about 3/4 of the way to my destination on the 14-hour round trip to get my lathe and just show you everything that I brought with me. Decided to bring I use this as my workshop table. It raises like 3 feet or so. An engine hoist is always handy, but we're in a parking lot right now. This is my airbag trailer that drops straight down to the ground, so it touches the ground, so it's easy to get stuff in and off. Got a fair amount of stuff, tools and stuff tucked away in the back for a crazy night of or a crazy day of moving stuff, fixing stuff, and you know, anything I can possibly imagine. We came our first casualty, and that is the fender is flopping. We busted one of the welds back here, it looks like. So I have the grinder, so it's just a matter of just take it off and no fender. Only brought one battery with me. I brought the super battery I just barely made. I guess this gets a free ride in the back now. Hopefully tomorrow goes off without a hitch. I'm able first thing in the morning just to pick it up, load it up, and be back on the road with my new toy. That's right, casino. I'm in Vegas, trying to beat the heat. Got it all loaded up this morning. Didn't show you guys because, you know, people are looking in their garage or something. The father had passed away years ago, but I ended up getting a meal as well, kind of thrown into the mix. So I got a meal in the stand for it, but there's a South Bend. I wrapped it up with saran wrap so you can't really see it, and I got a car full of goodies. And then I've got a car full of tools and goodies in here as well that we got to go through. Cone. So we'll have to do some unwrapping, but nothing budged. The engine hoist I supported. It has a little bit of the weight of the meal. This weighs nothing. That's just kind of set in there. Everything stayed for the 400 miles back to here. As far as the lathe goes, the saran wrap made sure if there was something I forgot in there, some knob or something like that I forgot that was loose, that it would actually hold it and keep it from bouncing off. So you guys are used to seeing this view of the shop, and I had to tuck them somewhere, so I found a nook right there, right behind my workbench. We'll come over here and look at them. Tucked in here. I've went through everything. I've had them for about it's been almost a week now, and you know, it took me a while to find room for them, put them up, set them up, oil them, get them ready to use. The meal, it's dated 1994, and just all the cross slides and stuff were just, the grease was so gummy that a lot of WD-40 to free it up, but now it moves really nice and smooth. It does not fit completely. You don't have full functionality while it's sitting in there. It's actually, I put it on casters down there. Took one of those furniture dollies that you can pick up from like Harbor Freight, like that thing right there, and just took the wheels off, mounted it on there, and then welded it up, extra supports in there. This is like a Taiwanese product. It just had that center drawer. Didn't have this upper or lower. I actually cut those out with the Evolution circular saw and put some drawer guide runners in there, and the faces are sitting in there, so I still got to make some. I was going to make some drawers. I just hate unusable space. But this is a MD30, which is the same as the RF-30. This like mill drill thing is like reproduced and cloned so many times. Very common mill drill. Came with a bunch of, got a bunch of collets down there. I think it came with some basic end mills. Nothing super fancy. I had a bunch of stuff from the auctions and stuff that I've done for years. I've kind of collected random things, and so, you know, you buy a toolbox and you end up getting some end mills and stuff like that. A couple just thrown in there. So this is all stuff that I've owned. Some of the stuff is really high quality. So I've played around a little bit with it. Not a ton. It did come also with a clamp down set. Move some stuff. I just have it sitting down back there so I can clamp stuff down, which is nice. And came with a really cheap, I guess, vise that will angle. That would work, I guess, in a pinch. As far as the lathe, which I was mainly looking for, the mill was just kind of an afterthought. Took the serial number off, stuff like that. Found out it's a very early 1935 model, but probably made in late 1934. South Bend Workshop, Model C. So it doesn't have a it does have a power feed, but it doesn't have like a friction drive power feed. So the lead screw, you have to set up all the gears and stuff like that to make it do it. So consequently, it's not the easiest thing to make it power feed. So the main screw is in awesome condition. The ways are not bad. I've actually looked at lathes in worse condition. So not terrible. About a 3 foot. It's 3 foot. I would have preferred something around a 3.5, 4 foot. I would have preferred probably a bigger lathe than this 9-inch, but it is what it is. All the speeds and stuff I got figured out. You know, I had to put my RPM gauge on them, but I got them all figured out. Back gears and stuff like that. Forward, reverse. Has a newer 1/2 horsepower motor that sits below. That I have this blue and white. I put a license plate around it to kind of, because it had vent holes up, so I didn't want metal shavings falling down into the motor. I oiled the snot out of it. A couple of little caps. I mean, this is one Gitz cap. Gitz Brothers, I think, who makes them. This one had nothing on it, so cork works. Oiled all the little fittings and ports and everything else up. Everything seems to be working good. So I actually got 3 chucks with it. I got this 3-jaw. I did get a 4-jaw, and I got a collet chuck right here that has these collets, but I only have, I think, 2 collets with it. Where are they at? One in it, and nope, I take that back. I got 3 collets. So it looks like I've got about a 1/4, 3/8, and a 3/4 inch collet. So I'm probably missing a bunch of collets, but that's all you get. This collet chuck is extremely well used. It bolts down here, and this engages or disengages the teeth in the collet and clamps down on your round stock. So maybe it's something I'll use, maybe it's something I will never use. I have not used the 4-jaw yet. I have used the 3-jaw, and when I got it, it was extremely out of round. I think it was about 15 thousandths out of round. So I attempted to shim it and put paper to judge it. You can see my low, and I got all these yellow marks on there high, and I was kind of just lightly hand filing and trying to get it where it was. Just couldn't get it. Got it better, but I just couldn't get where I wanted. So I ended up just taking a 1/2 x 1/2 stock, drilling a hole through it, and then I put a just a flat grinding stone on it. Put my air grinder in that, chucked it in here, and with this running, with the jaws opened, I would just take this and I would move it in and out, and it would just hit those jaws. And I did that a couple times, and I got it within, I think, about 3 thousandths. So much better, accurate. Not much wear in the bearings. I think if you push up and down, I can get about 1, maybe 2 thousandths if I sit there and play in between my headstock main. Well, there's really no bearings in there, but not bad. Little Mickey Mouse. I think that a lot of the belt changing stuff is kind of been redone a couple times, and that's one of the things about these lathes. Sometimes you have the motor up, above, down below, directly below. So it all works though. Forward, reverse, and they're using like a snowmobile belt. Would have originally been a leather belt, but this works just fine. It grips good, doesn't slip. Has a half horsepower motor. On the tailstock, came with I have a live center down here. Also have a 5/8 chuck, actual Jacobs, which is nice. Probably not the original. Definitely not the original, but it works good. Nice and smooth. This is a change gear system. There's no transmission right here, so I have to actually physically change gear to make screw threads. And I have made screw threads. I actually made this little pedestal that holds all my gears and put some screw threads on there. I have them all except for I think I'm missing the, what am I missing? The 54 tooth and the 80 tooth. So yeah, 54 and 80 tooth sprocket. So I can't do 40 threads per inch or 27 threads per inch. 27 threads per inch is an oddball, so probably would never use that anyway. But all the gears and everything else look good over here that you just unbolt and change them out. Forward, reverse on your feed screw. You got back gears right here for your low gears. We got it right there. I guess we'll fire it up. Make sure I didn't, yeah. The belt system back here ticks just a little bit, depending on the speed you're in. But all of this sounds nice and smooth and quiet, which is good. You know what you want. Disconnect that, put the back gears in, and hear those gears humming away. And I've oiled the crap out of it a couple times, trying to just flow oil out. I had to WD-40 the whole thing to dissolve just the buildup of oil on it, and did it pretty good. I've got it to the point where everything moves freely. The WD, you want to use WD-40 because it dissolves oil, but then you want to re-oil it because WD-40 is not a lubricant. Tooling with that, I didn't get a ton. Just some basic carbide. I've used this one for threading. This is just a Chinese thing. I think that was already mine. This chunk of high-speed steel was already mine, but I think I got maybe one of these was mine, but the rest came with it, which is kind of nice, Apparently a shim. It came with a parting tool that I have not mastered parting yet, which is not an easy thing. But one of the things you'll find when you're looking for lathes is most of them don't have stands on them, or they're on a wooden surface or something. They didn't really sell them with stands, so it's kind of nice to find one with a nice sturdy metal stand versus just having like a wood something, and it's having actually an oil tray was actually a nice find. Really was happy about that. It collects all your oil and holds most of your chips from just going everywhere. But I also got these aluminum cookie sheets that I put under here to catch most of the chips, and have some leaning up back here, and a sign just to keep the chips from flying far behind, so I don't have to clean up too much stuff. Nice little tray. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a shelf that slides out of here, a drawer. So a lot of your bits and your tooling, you know, I'll build a drawer that goes back in about 15, 16, 17 inches. And so you'll just have a long desk drawer that you can pull out and get your tooling and slide it back in so no chips and stuff get in it. Weight-wise, this is pretty reasonable. I've looked at other lathes in the past that were way bigger, but I didn't have room for them. But they were in the thousands and thousands of pound range. This whole thing, I think the top just bare, I think they say is like 300, 350 pounds. So with everything and the stand, everything, I'm probably 450. So not bad. This was lighter than I thought it would be. Easy to move. This thing right here came in at 700 pounds or so. So this thing was heavy. That's just the top. The bottom's probably another 50 pounds. So not bad. The engine hoist picked it up no problem. But to use this fully, all these were already loose when I got it. So I think the guy was probably pulling these on and off himself. But it wheels out pretty effortlessly. I've got it behind the truck here. But you get it. Pulls out, but I mean, I could do a lot of functions. I lined it up so I could do a lot of functions on the outer edge of this bed. So I could drill, I could mill certain areas. I wouldn't have full access unless I really pulled it out, but it'll be usable for where it is. We can fire this thing up. This thing is quiet. We don't have nothing. It's not a Bridgeport, but it doesn't weigh as much as a Bridgeport either, so exciting. I did look for one of these I've been looking for one for years, and the problem is I've debated just buying new because nobody wants to let these things go. And the guys that do want to let them go, they're so expensive, you'd be better off just buying an import one, because the accuracy is better. You know, you're going to have better parts turn out. You're not worrying about the machine being the reason why stuff isn't working quite right. But definitely fun to have an old machine. I like old stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. Have a good one. Bye. What are you reading? What is this? What? You reading how to use the lathe? Oh, heck. Come on, let's do this. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's it, stay. Now, you put one hand up here. Good job, stay. And you take this knob right here, and you turn it like that. And you get it? Come on. Don't be scared. It won't hurt you. Come on, you can learn. And then I can just leave you out in the shop, and you can do all the work. This one? Get this one? Look at that one. Yeah. No? You don't think so? You got to keep reading?